I heard the crunch before I saw it, metal folding plastic, snapping, the kind of sound that makes your stomach drop because you already know something expensive just broke. When I ran to the window, her SUV was sitting crooked on my lawn, one wheel sunk, smoke curling up into the morning air. That was the moment everything the HOA had been doing to me finally came into the open. I'm not the kind of guy who goes looking for trouble. I'm a 38-year-old homeowner, brown hair going gray faster than I like work boots most days, flannel when it's cold, baseball cap when it's not. I bought my place in Maple Ridge Estates because it was quiet, boring, in the best way, the kind of neighborhood where nothing ever happens, or at least that's what the realtor said. The homeowners association ran everything: lawn height, mailbox color, what kind of light bulbs you could use on your porch. At the center of it all was Anna Edwards, mid-50s, perfectly styled blonde bob, always in tailored slacks and a blazer, like she was running a Fortune 500 company instead of a subdivision. She was the president of the HOA, and she carried that title like a badge and a weapon at the same time. My house sits on a corner lot. Nothing fancy, just a little extra grass along the side where the road curves. That strip of lawn turned out to be important, though I didn't know it at first. The first time her SUV cut across my yard, I assumed it was a mistake. Maybe she misjudged the turn. The second time, I noticed the tire marks. By the fifth time, the grass was torn up and my sprinkler head was cracked clean off. Every weekday at exactly the same time, 7:47 a.m., she'd do it. Swing wide, cut across my lawn, shave 30 seconds off her drive. My property had become her personal shortcut. I left a polite note in her mailbox. Nothing aggressive, just a simple request. Please stop driving across my lawn. It's private property. The next morning, she did it again. Slower this time, like she wanted me to see. So I waited outside. When she rolled up, I stepped forward and raised my hand. She stopped, window halfway down, sunglasses already on. "Hey," I said, keeping my voice even, "you're damaging my yard." She didn't even look at the grass. She looked at me, then smiled, the kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. "This is a common access path," she said. "I'm the HOA president. I know the boundaries." Then she rolled the window up and drove straight over my lawn again, spraying dirt onto my jeans. 2 days later, I got my first violation notice. Not about the lawn. About my trash cans being visible from the street for more than 12 hours. Then another one, my porch light was non-compliant. Then another, my hedge was half an inch too high. None of that had been an issue before. It was obvious what was happening. I wasn't being corrected, I was being punished. I showed up to the next HOA meeting with photos of the tire tracks receipts for the broken sprinkler timestamps from my phone. Anna sat at the head of the table, tapping her pen, nodding along as if she were listening. When I finished, she cleared her throat. "Thank you for your comments," she said. Then she moved on to the next agenda item. No vote, no discussion, just dismissed. That was when it stopped feeling small. I installed motion lights along the edge of my property, legal, permitted, compliant, down to the letter. The next morning, when her SUV rolled across my lawn, the light snapped on like a runway. She slammed on the horn, revved the engine, drove even faster the next day. Then one night, my camera caught her stepping onto my property with a pair of wire cutters. She bent down, clipped the power line to the lights, and walked away like she owned the place. The following morning, another violation notice appeared in my mailbox, this time for unauthorized lighting structures, signed by Anna Edwards. That was the point where the situation stopped being annoying and started being exhausting. Every day felt like pushing against a wall that never moved. I wasn't questioning whether I was right. I knew the facts, but I could feel the pressure building. The fines, the letters, the constant sense that someone with power had decided to make my life difficult, and no one was stepping in to stop it. One night, sitting at my kitchen table with a stack of violation notices spread out, I honestly considered just letting it go. Not because I thought I was wrong, but because fighting felt endless. The HOA had money lawyers' time. I had a job, a mortgage, and a growing knot in my chest every time I heard an engine outside. What pulled me out of that moment wasn't anger, it was paperwork. A surveyor's report I found buried in my closing documents. A city map that didn't match the one the HOA kept circulating. I hired an independent surveyor, and when he came back with the results, he looked at me and said, "You're not going to like this, but you're going to want to see it. The boundary markers had been shifted. 18 feet of my land had been quietly absorbed into what the HOA called shared access. No approval, no easement, just taken. When I started talking to neighbors, the stories poured out. Fines that disappeared if they used a specific contractor. Warnings that escalated into penalties if they asked too many questions. That contractor, it turned out, belonged to Anna's husband. Everything clicked into place. I didn't confront her right away. I documented, recorded, filed requests with the city. Then I applied for a permit to install decorative concrete posts along my property line. Approved in less than a week. On a cloudy Monday morning, I watched from my porch as the posts were set solid, immovable, clearly within my legal boundary. At 7:47 a.m. the next day, her SUV came barreling down the road. She didn't slow, didn't look. The impact was loud, final. Her front wheel collapsed. The car jerked to a stop halfway on my lawn. She stormed out, screaming about traps, about lawsuits, about her authority as HOA president. I didn't raise my voice. I handed the officer the survey, the permit, the footage. A week later, she came back with a crew and tried to remove the posts herself. That's when the police arrived for real. Watching her being led away in handcuffs was quiet. No cheers, no speeches, just the sound of my lawn sprinkler clicking back on. The HOA board was dissolved within a month. Investigations followed. Contracts were audited. I didn't win because I yelled louder. I won because I stayed grounded in facts, documentation, and patience. And the lesson was simple. Power only works when people assume it can't be challenged. I thought that would be the end of it. I really did. But when you live under an HOA long enough, you learn that silence doesn't always mean it's over. Sometimes it just means the damage is happening behind closed doors. After the crash, the letters stopped. No more violation notices. No more warnings taped to my door. That alone felt unnatural, like the calm after a storm where the air is too still. A week went by, then another. Neighbors who used to avoid eye contact started slowing down when they walked past my house. Some nodded. Some whispered quick about time comments under their breath. One guy across the street finally stopped and said, "She's been doing that kind of thing for years." That's when I realized this wasn't just about my lawn anymore. I started getting emails, not official ones, just personal messages forwarded quietly, screenshots of old HOA notices, invoices that never made sense, meeting minutes that didn't match what people remembered voting on. It became clear how the system worked. Rules weren't enforced evenly. They were aimed. If you stayed quiet, nothing happened. If you pushed back, the rulebook came down on your head like a hammer. One afternoon, I came home to find chalk markings near the concrete posts, survey lines. Someone had been measuring my property without permission. I checked the cameras. Sure enough, it was Anna again, this time with a man in a reflective vest pointing, gesturing, acting like the posts were temporary obstacles instead of fixed, permitted structures. I didn't confront her. I called the city. When the inspector arrived, Anna tried to take control of the conversation immediately. She talked fast, confident, throwing out HOA jargon like it was federal law. The inspector listened, nodded, then turned to me. "Can you show me your permit?" he asked. I handed it over. He checked the markers, measured twice. Then he looked at her and said, "These are legal. Any attempt to remove them is vandalism." Her face changed in a way I'll never forget. Not anger, panic, the kind that flashes for half a second when someone realizes their authority doesn't work here. 2 nights later, that panic turned into action. I woke up to the sound of machinery. Not loud enough to be construction, but not subtle either. Through the window, I saw headlights and the arm of a small excavator creeping toward my yard. Anna stood nearby, arms crossed, directing the operator. No safety cones, no permits posted. Just confidence, the kind built on years of getting away with things. I didn't yell. I didn't go outside. I called 911. By the time the police arrived, the excavator bucket had already cracked one of the posts. The operator froze when the sirens came on. Anna started talking before the officer even stepped out of the car. She claimed emergency repairs, hazard removal, HOA authority. The officer asked one question: "Where's your permit?" There wasn't one. What followed wasn't dramatic. No shouting, no movie-style confrontation, just quiet procedural consequences. Statements were taken. Footage was reviewed. The operator admitted he'd been hired directly by Anna, paid in cash, told it was already approved. That was the final thread. Within weeks, the board was suspended pending investigation. Bank accounts frozen, records subpoenaed. The concrete post that cracked, the city ordered it repaired at her expense. Now when I stand on my porch in the mornings, the lawn is quiet. No tire tracks, no shortcuts, just grass doing what grass is supposed to do. I didn't change the neighborhood. I didn't dismantle the HOA by myself. I just refused to let someone rewrite reality because they thought no one would stop them. And sometimes that's all it takes, standing still long enough for the truth to catch up.